the next 20 years? Well, first of all, my other book, Physics of the Impossible, talks about the next 500 years, when we have starships, we have teleportation, and we have telepathy. Teleportation, think about that. You take Captain Kirk and you teleport him across the room, and then you say to yourself, who is this imposter over here who claims to be Captain Kirk, who sells Priceline just like Captain Kirk? Who is this person? Well, just remember that teleportation, time travel, maybe, just maybe, they are within the laws of physics. So let's now talk about the future. Now, some of you may say to yourself, well, you guys can't predict the future. You guys can't even predict the past. Nobody predicted the crash of 2008. Well, that's not quite true. Let's talk about the crash of 2008 and who predicted it. First of all, where does wealth come from anyway? After everything is said and done, wealth comes from science and technology. But you see, science comes in waves. One invention creates a cascade of secondary invention. That wave creates wealth, incredible wealth. But wealth has to go someplace. Wealth is restless. It creates often a bubble, a huge bubble. And when the bubble pops, you get a depression. So let's now have a history lesson, and then let's go into the future. So first, let's go into the past. The year is now 1800. We physicists worked out the laws of thermodynamics. We could calculate how much energy you get from a lump of coal. From this, we unleashed the Industrial Revolution. All of a sudden, we had locomotives. We had factories generating wealth. Wealth that an agrarian society had never seen before. Fantastic wealth, but wealth is restless. The wealth generated by the steam revolution had to go somewhere. Where did it go? Into the London Stock Exchange, creating a huge bubble in railroad stocks. It was unsustainable. The bubble crashed in 1850. A huge crash of capitalism. The crash was so severe, it even created a philosophy called Marxism. Now, we physicists are also restless. We unleash the next wave of innovation, and that is electricity, the internal combustion engine. This wealth created a huge bubble on the American Stock Exchange, wealth that we had never seen before, wealth in the form of electricity and the gasoline-powered engine. It crashed in 2009. 80 years later, on the dot, we physicists unleashed the third wave. High technology, lasers, computers, GPS, the space program. This created enormous wealth. Wealth that created a bubble. It was unsustainable. In America, the bubble went into real estate, and it collapsed in 2008. But the bubble also was created in Europe. And that bubble was created sustaining the Mediterranean lifestyle. Well, the Mediterranean lifestyle is not sustainable. And it is crashing even as we speak, perhaps this year. So here's the question for today. This is the question for the ages, for the next 80 years. What is the fourth wave? The first wave was steam power, industrializing the world for the first time, leading to the crash of 1850. The second wave was electricity, creating vast wealth for Thomas Edison and other great inventors. It created the wealth of 1929, and it crashed, creating the Great Depression. The third great wave was even bigger in high technology, lasers, transistors. It crashed in 2008. What is the fourth wave? That is today's talk. We think it'll be a combination of three things: biotech, nanotech, artificial intelligence. So let's now talk about the future, your future. First of all, this is Moore's Law. It simply says that computer power doubles every 18 months. But the wealth and power of nations depends upon this curve. Think about it. Computer power doubles every 18 months. Today, if you get a birthday card in the mail and you open it up, there's a chip in that card that sings happy birthday to you. Birthday cards sing to you these days because there's a chip in that card. That chip has more computer power than all the Allied forces of 1945. Hitler, Stalin, Roosevelt would have killed to get that chip. And what do you do with it? You throw it away in the garbage. If Hitler had that chip in 1940, we might all be speaking German here today rather than English. And now look at 1969. In 1969, we put 2 men on the moon. But you ever seen pictures of mission control? Clunky 64K processors at mission control? You realize that your cell phone has more computer power than all of NASA in 1969? We were sending humans into outer space backed up by a cell phone. You're not going to get me in one of those tin cans. I'm not going to go into outer space knowing that I'm backed up by a cell phone. But that's what we did according to this chart. And now look at 2020. You now know the future. The future is that chips will cost about a penny in 2020. That's the cost of paper, scrap paper. Bubblegum wrappers cost about a penny, which means that the computer will disappear. Disappear. It'll be everywhere and nowhere, like electricity. When you walk into a room today, what's the first thing you do when you walk into a room? You look for the light switch. You assume that electricity is in the walls, the floor, the ceiling. Electricity is everywhere and nowhere. And the word electricity has pretty much disappeared from the English language. Nobody says the word electricity anymore. And where does electricity come from? Who knows where electricity comes from? It's the cloud someplace. Well, you now know the future of the computer. The future of the computer is to disappear, to be everywhere and nowhere. The word computer will disappear from the English language. No one will say computer anymore. And where will computer power come from? You know, the cloud someplace. Who knows where computer power comes from? So let's talk about the world, your world, when the internet is everywhere and nowhere, including your glasses. Google, of course, is test marketing glasses this year, available for sale. These glasses, however, recognize people's faces. And when you see somebody, it will print out the biography next to their name, so you'll always know who you're talking to. And if they speak Chinese to you, it'll translate from English to Chinese, so you'll always be able to talk to anybody. This is very useful. Let's say you're looking for a job, and you're at a cocktail party, but you don't know who the heavy hitters are. In the future, you will know exactly who to suck up to at any cocktail party. Or let's say you bump into somebody and you say, I know this person. Jim, John, Jake, I know this person. What is his name? Your glasses will say, it's Jim, stupid. I remind you once a month. Can't you remember these people's names? And of course, people will not want to look like a refugee from Star Trek. They will want to be fashionable. Children are the driving force behind much of this technology. Some of you may say to yourself, I'm too old, I can't learn all this stuff. Talk to your grandkids. Your grandkids will love it. Because there are 3 ways to do it. You can shoot the information to your retina, you can use the glasses as a screen, or you can have an eyepiece. Sooner or later, fashion models will wear these things. It'll be fashionable to be wired up anywhere, anytime, and if you want to be unwired, you just hit the off button. So we will have information if you want it. This is the future of your entertainment center, the future of your home office. Now, there's a problem. The problem is, let's say you don't wear glasses. Let's say you don't like glasses. Then, what are you going to do? Then you will blink and go online. And who are the first people to buy internet contact lenses? College students taking final examinations. Nobody here, of course. But hey, you're taking a final exam, you blink, and there's all the answers. The periodic chart. You don't have to memorize all those silly crystals and all those silly formulas anymore. You just blink. Who's the second person to buy internet contact lenses? President Barack Obama. So he doesn't have to have these two damn teleprompters. Ever see these politicians make speeches looking at the teleprompter? Actors, actresses will love it because they simply blink. And who's the third person who will buy these internet contact lenses? Vice President Joe Biden, so he will always be on message and never say anything goofy on national television. Who else will buy these internet contact lenses? Tourists. Ever been in Rome or some capital and you can't bargain with the merchants? They don't understand English, you don't understand Serbo-Croatian, and you can't bargain with them. In the future, you'll be able to communicate, have a conversation, because you'll see subtitles. Google is already working out the dynamic between Mandarin and English. It's at the level of a UN translator. That's the quality of translation between English and Mandarin Chinese, currently available already. So you'll see that you will be able to negotiate with anybody. If you're a tourist walking the streets of Rome, you'll be able to resurrect the Roman Empire right in your contact lens. You will live in the Matrix. This is the Matrix. You'll be able to conjure up any world that you can think of right inside your contact lens. This is called augmented reality, and it's, quote, the next big thing. When the computer disappears, and it's everywhere and nowhere. Now, augmented reality, you've seen it before in a Hollywood movie. There's a Hollywood movie which first introduced augmented reality to the people of the world. What was that movie? Here is the former governor of California. In a very bad mood. It is the Terminator. You see, the Terminator robot sees a biography of everything it looks at. You will always know where you are. You'll never get lost. You'll be able to talk to anybody in their home language. If you don't remember the periodic chart of elements, boom, you'll see the periodic chart just by blinking. And you may say to yourself, is this science fiction? And the answer is no. It already exists. The military has an operational version of this already. It's called Land Warrior. It is an eyepiece. An eyepiece that fits on your helmet. You flick it right over your eye, and bingo, you are online. I flew down to Fort Benning, Georgia, and I put this on for the TV camera for the Science Channel. And we filmed using this device. So the military already has the internet of the battlefield.